The sun dipped low over Lexington, Kentucky, casting a golden hue across the quiet streets. Officer Brian Matthews adjusted his rear-view mirror as he sat inside his patrol car, scanning the evening traffic. His partner, Dana Ellis, tapped a pen thoughtfully against her notepad, scribbling notes from their previous call. They were stationed near Ashland Avenue, where modest homes gave way to upscale condos. That's when Brian's eyes fixated on a sleek black sedan gliding past. The driver, a black woman in a sharply tailored gray suit, had her hair done up neatly, posture firm, presence commanding. Something about her composure seemed to irk Brian. "Look at that," he muttered, his voice tinged with contempt. "Fancy car. Bet she's hiding something." Dana glanced up from her notes. "She's not speeding or doing anything wrong," she replied cautiously. "What's the issue?" Brian ignored her, flicking on the cruiser's lights. "Let's find out," he said with a sly grin, merging into traffic to follow the car. The woman signaled and pulled over promptly, her movements calm and precise. Dana noticed her shoulders tense slightly as Brian stepped out of the vehicle. "Brian, this doesn't sit right," Dana whispered, hurrying after him. "There's no cause." "Stay back, rookie," Brian snapped, resting his hand near his holster. "Been doing this 20 years. I know what trouble looks like." As they approached, the window slid down, revealing Mariah Jordan. Her face was composed, though watchful, her eyes calmly appraising the officers. "Evening, officers," she said evenly. "Is there an issue?" Brian leaned in, casting a shadow across the car's interior. "License and registration," he barked. Mariah moved deliberately, placing the documents on the dashboard before handing them over. Dana observed a faint tremble in Mariah's fingers, a sign of tension, not from guilt, but from being targeted. "What brings you to this neighborhood, Miss Jordan?" Brian asked, scanning her ID with a hard edge. "I have a meeting nearby," she answered, voice measured. Brian scoffed. "Must be some meeting driving a car like this." Dana's stomach twisted. Pedestrians were beginning to glance their way. She stepped closer. "Brian," she's cooperating. "Let's not take this further." But Brian was already tugging at the door handle. "Step out," he ordered, his grip tightening. Mariah's composure slipped momentarily. "Is there a reason?" "I set out," Brian barked, yanking the door open. Mariah unfastened her seatbelt and stepped out with care. Dana's heart pounded as she watched Brian grab Mariah's arm, forcing her against the car. Her purse slid from her shoulder, its contents, keys, a phone, a slim notepad, spilling onto the pavement. "This is unnecessary," Mariah said, voice clipped but composed. "I've followed every instruction." Brian crouched to sift through her belongings, ignoring her protest. "What's a woman like you doing in a ride like this?" he muttered. Dana clenched her fists. "Brian, this isn't protocol. We don't have cause to search your things." Brian waved her off. "Still got a lot to learn, rookie. This is how the streets stay clean." Mariah's voice firmed. "You're infringing on my rights. You have no grounds to search." Brian straightened, brandishing one of her credit cards like it was a smoking gun. "You don't get to talk back. You're in my city now." People had begun recording. Mariah remained composed, refusing to look away from Brian. Dana noticed Brian's hand dip into his pocket, producing a tiny plastic bag. One Dana hadn't seen among Mariah's things. Her blood ran cold. "Brian," she hissed, voice barely audible, "what are you doing?" No reply. Brian bent into the car, slipped the bag under the seat, and turned to the crowd. Well, he declared, hoisting the bag into view. "Looks like we've got a drug situation." Mariah's eyes widened in fury. "That's not mine. You planted it." Brian grinned smugly. "Nice story, but it won't stick." Dana's pulse roared in her ears. Mariah locked eyes with her. "You saw him. Please, say something." Dana's throat tightened. Brian's stare was ice cold. He didn't need words to convey his warning. But Dana couldn't shake what she saw. Her father's voice echoed. "Integrity isn't easy, but it's right." "Brian," she said, voice trembling, "this isn't right." He turned sharply. "You don't know a damn thing. Stay out of it." Mariah faced him head on. This is harassment, and you know it. So does your partner. Brian leaned closer, hand drifting toward his holster. You think you're untouchable because of your car? That's enough, Dana blurted, her voice rising. You've crossed a line. The crowd swelled. Brian hesitated, glancing at the sea of recording phones. Mariah took a deep breath. Thank you, she told Dana quietly. Brian's fury bubbled over. He jabbed a finger at Dana's chest. You're done. I'll make sure of it. Dana stood tall. If standing up means losing the badge, so be it. Mariah sensed the moment. She slowly reached into her jacket. Both officers tensed and pulled out a badge holder. She flipped it open. Captain Mariah Jordan, new commanding officer of this precinct. Silence. Brian stared in disbelief. Dana's knees almost buckled. That's not possible, Brian stammered. You didn't bother to ask before assuming, did you? Mariah said, but it shouldn't matter who I am. Everyone deserves dignity. Brian's face went pale. The crowd erupted, cheers, accusations, and demands for justice. Mariah turned to Dana. I'm grateful you spoke up. It takes courage. I should have done it sooner, Dana admitted. You did it when it counted, Mariah assured her. Brian found his voice. Captain, I can explain. No, you can't, she snapped. You disgraced that badge. Hand it over. You're suspended. Brian's hands shook as he surrendered his holster and badge. You don't understand what it's like on these streets, he spat. Is that what you call this? How many lives have you ruined? The crowd's anger grew louder, shouts of justice echoing. Mariah raised her voice. This isn't just about me. It's about accountability. No one is above the law. Brian stepped forward, snarling. You think you're some kind of hero? You don't deal with real criminals. And planting evidence is your way? You're not protecting, you're harming. Dana watched, overwhelmed, as the truth lay bare before them. Mariah turned to her. You did right, Officer Ellis. Keep that fire. I won't lose it, Dana whispered. Brian looked at Mariah with rage and desperation. You're making a mistake. People like you don't last. Mariah stepped forward. People like me, those who believe in fairness? Then it's a mistake I'm proud to make. Applause erupted. Mariah turned to a bystander. Make sure that footage is shared. Brian snarled. You're throwing me under the bus for optics. No, Mariah said. This is accountability. Sirens wailed in the distance. Two backup officers approached. Mariah didn't flinch. Officers, escort Mr. Matthews to the station. He's suspended pending investigation. Brian balked. This is my precinct. Not anymore, Mariah replied. Cheers followed him as he was led away. Voices cried out for justice, supporting Mariah and condemning Brian. Mariah addressed the crowd. This is the beginning. Today we take a stand, but real change requires all of us. Dana stood by, a lump in her throat, realizing this was more than a traffic stop. Mariah approached her again. You did right today. It's not easy, but it matters. Dana blinked back tears. I thought I'd lose everything. No, Mariah said. Integrity defines us, not the badge. As a news crew arrived, cameras began rolling. Mariah faced them squarely. Today shows no one's above the law. Change starts here. Dana stepped back, letting her captain take center stage. Around them, hope stirred, a community reclaiming trust, a system slowly shifting. As Brian's car disappeared down the road, Mariah and Dana stood together, ready to face what came next.